Now we have to talk about this vampire Gavin Newsom. He's a snake oil salesman, he's greasy, he's a con man, he's a con artist. We all know this by now, okay? Gavin Newsom, he can't even call his wife, he calls her his partner. That's the type of man that he is, okay? He's a little beta male who cares more about hair gel than actually getting things done in his home state and taking a tough stance. Well, he decided on his little podcast rehabilitation tour, which I think from the way his eyes look so bloodshot, he might need a different kind of rehabilitation tour, but nonetheless, that's a non sequitur. Gavin Newsom, on his little podcast rehab tour, he goes on Shawn Ryan, and he cannot answer definitively whether an 8-year-old should be able to have transgender procedures.
What about for your values? I mean, is 8 years old too young?
Yeah, I mean, look, I now that I have a 9-year-old, just became 9, come on, man, I get it. So those are legit. You know, it's interesting, just the issue of age. It's interesting, as someone that's been so focused on equality, broadly, LGBT rights, particularly gay marriage. Mm-hmm. The trans issue for me is also novel. It's over the last few years, I'm trying to understand as much as anyone else, whole pronoun thing, trying to understand all of that. That was like, the hell, I mean, all that stuff. I get it. All this stuff started to collapse on us.
It is a yes or no question. There is no wiggle room, okay? If someone asks you, do you want men in women's sports and in women's locker rooms? The answer should be no. Gavin Newsom, he can't say that. If someone asks you, should an 8-year-old be allowed to have transition procedures and cross-sex hormones? The answer should be no. There should be no wiggle room. As a father, as a husband, what the hell is Gavin Newsom doing? And then watching these interviews with Gavin Newsom, the man talks with his hands more than I do, which is tough. That is a tough hill to climb. Gavin Newsom talks with his hands so much, he's like Bob Fosse when he walks into the room. These vagabond shoes. That's Gavin Newsom. He's like the new Tim Walz. I used to call Tim Walz Mr. Jazz Hands. I coined that term, okay, because he walks out on stage like this. Gavin Newsom, he's the new Mr. Jazz Hands. He looks like he's an air traffic controller. Like, I don't know what Gavin Newsom is doing with these hands, but it's creepy and it needs to be toned down, okay? Sit on your hands. Maybe Gavin Newsom could get the furry handcuffs out of his bedside table the next time he does an interview and keep his hands down here. But no, Gavin Newsom, the fact that he can't definitively answer whether or not an 8-year-old should be allowed to have cross-sex hormones and transition their gender is disgusting.